Waterproof flooring is a hot topic, but there's more to it which these pitches don't include. We're going over what to expect in your waterproof flooring search, and subfloor moisture issues that could be trouble for your home as well. Today we're going to help you with understanding moisture issues you can face when settling in on that new floor. Let's start with moisture issues from the ground up. What would you need to protect against subfloor moisture? You walk on your floor every day. It's not soggy or wet. When you or your contractor pull up your floor, you can see it's dry without a sign of water or puddling, so it must be fine. People often think of moisture as a visual or topical issue, but it's actually much bigger than that, with a range of solutions. While your subfloor may look dry, and the concrete may have had a vapor barrier laid prior to the concrete being poured, the barrier only reduces those moisture levels. Pressure still enters from below and from the sides of your home, especially with extended moisture from big storms and irrigation or hillside runoff. Environmental moisture absorbs into the slab, which is primarily retained as long as there's a balance of humidity in the home, which, as we've covered in previous videos, is around 35% to 50% in the home. If the humidity of the space drops, the slab itself releases moisture into the air, which is known as hydrostatic pressure, and is where options like liquid or vinyl sheet barriers come into play to reduce or deflect where that moisture and pressure go. How do you know if you need a vapor barrier or a stronger moisture barrier? You or your installer can test your floors for moisture content before installation. In some cases, your install guide will refer to ASTM F1869 or ASTM F2170, which are two methods to check floors before installation. F1869 is a topical test that reads emission rates, while F2170 is a deeper probe into your concrete slab to test 40% down to see what the relative humidity levels are. With F2170, your ideal situation should be at 75% RH from the probe in the slab at 40% depth. If the material you're installing allows for a higher RH level, that's an exception, but not the rule for most brands. With F1869, you don't want to exceed 5 pounds per 24 hours over 1,000 square feet from your calcium chloride test. Otherwise, a barrier needs to be employed. For comparison, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. If you had 16 pounds over a 24-hour period, it would mean your slab is emitting 2 gallons of moisture per day, which is trying to push through the flooring edges and the ends. With lower moisture situations around 3 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet, you can use a vapor barrier underlayment. These are often 6 mil in thickness that have pre-taped edges to connect to other sheets. Often it's best to seal these again with underlayment tape for full protection. This helps catch and redirect head pressure in the space out to the edges of the room instead of letting it push up through the seams of the planks. With more aggressive moisture situations, you may find topical solutions that can help and often include some elasticity for future crack prevention problems. These are often roll or trowel based and can tackle pressure up to 25 pounds per 1,000 square feet and reduce RH at 99% down to 75% with proper application. With a scale of performance, you can find options that better match your situation to reduce moisture down to safe levels in your home for that new floor. Keep in mind, these do not all reduce moisture equally. You'll have to test to know your needs prior to picking a solution. It is rare, but sometimes the house after testing will clear without the need for any of these by having exceptionally low moisture and RH readings. In which case, it's up to the homeowner to make a decision on any future preventative measures they want to take, as pulling everything up later usually means a new floor is going down at that point. There are a wide range of solutions out there for subfloor moisture so that you can find the best match to your situation. While this does take some time as part of the prep, the results are well worth it in the long run. Next, we tackle moisture from the top down. A popular topic is vinyls, laminates, and hardwoods all attempt to address this consumer item. Brands may select a range of terminology to help establish a range of support offered. These might pop up as spill-proof, water-resistant, splash-proof, and a range of other pairings. These are ways to know if the product will resist topical moisture, but to a limited degree for a limited range of time. This often is the case for many laminates and hardwoods, including hybrid products. These experience mild expansion with water exposure, but have a recovery rate that brings the material back into tolerance ranges. There are some exceptions to these designs. Many exclude alterations and blunt damage. These could be items like cutting a plank around cabinetry, dropping a hard item on the floor like a knife, or a hard-edged item that can fracture or chip the surface. Standing water or appliance leaks are generally exempt from this coverage as well, as exposure can run beyond the recovery window or bypass things like the film coating, which protects the core. Waterproof branding is a big keyword as it implies a full range of coverage. This means the product is resistant to moisture damage for long periods without limitations like a time frame a topical spill has to be cleaned up by. While dominated by vinyl, there are advancements with other products that now reach into the space. Compressed veneer woods offer a tighter cell structure with a heavier acrylic finish that keep water from penetrating the fibers and expanding them. They're often mounted to sealed HDF cores or vinyl cores for added support compared to traditional plywood bases. Laminates have also moved into higher grade HDF options that have specialized hydrophobic properties that give it an added edge over resistant cores for even lower expansion rates and higher tolerances. In these cases, performance will often exceed resistant products by a wider margin. In some cases, an excessively large margin when dealing with pure synthetic options. It's always good to read the warranties though instead of just the marketing to know the limits of any waterproof coverage. If your home isn't going to be subject to extreme cases of topical moisture, then a resistant product may work well, while heavy splashing from water bowls and other spills may command more need for something fully waterproof instead. In the end, it's always good to read the warranties and install guides prior to any purchase. Knowing what needs to go into the install process is extremely helpful to avoid things like having planks fail due to hydrostatic pressure and everyone pointing fingers at each other for the blame game. While it's nice to think that we all have perfect RH in our homes, often that's not the case, and we have to make decisions to find a solution that hits the right balance for each of us. We hope you like this video. There's more coming. We're sure of it. No, really, there will be. No, seriously, we mean it.